Hello student, we are studying our MSc first physics semester 3rd course, that is physics of semiconductor devices, and our subject code is PHCT 231, and we have started or we started our fourth chapter in our previous video, and we also seen some introductory part related to the metal semiconductor contact, and also we have seen when we brought metal and semiconductor in contact with each other, then there is possibility of two contact, that is a ohmic contact and Schottky contact. These two types depending on their linear and non-linear rectifying current voltage characteristics. And in this video, we have to see the band diagram or the energy band diagram for the metal and the energy band diagram for the semiconductor, and we have to define some concepts which are related to the metal semiconductor contact. So let's start. Energy band diagram. For energy band diagram, consider an n-type semiconductor crystal and a metal. Generally, we take a semiconductor and a material which is either n-type or p-type. Here we consider the semiconductor material which is of n-type and a metal. The energy band diagrams of these two materials are shown in the figure. That is this figure. This figure shows the energy band diagram for the metal and semiconductor, which we will discuss later. We know because of the photoelectric effect in which electrons can be extracted from the metal in a vacuum when light with a proper wavelength is incident on the metal. We know that what do you mean by the photoelectric effect. Everybody know about the photoelectric effect. When we take a metal and we incident a light of particular wavelength on metal, then there is a ejection of electron from the metal, or the electron can be extracted from the metal in a vacuum. This is the photoelectric effect. In order to observe this effect, the wavelength of the incident light must have higher energy than a given critical value. We know that different material or the different metal which have capability to eject the electron with a different energy. So they require the different energy or some critical value for a particular metal to eject the electron. So we have to consider when we incident the light on the metal, then we have to choose the light with a particular wavelength or photon with a particular wavelength. In other words, the photon must carry inner energy to extract electrons from the metal and eject them into the vacuum. That means photon, we know that the light consists of number of photons, and photon must carry inner energy to eject that particular electron from the particular metal, so that it can eject very easily into the vacuum. This energy, that is E is equal to h nu, must be at least equal to the work function of the metal, and which is denoted as a q phi m, where q is a charge, phi m is a work function of that particular metal. We know that light consists of number of photons, and each photon energy is E is equal to h nu, where h is the Planck constant, nu is the frequency, or simply we can write E is equal to sc by lambda in terms of wavelength. So in order to eject the electrons from the metal, we have to consider the particular energy or the incident photon with a particular wavelength, and the amount of energy required to eject the electron from the metal is known as the work function, and which is denoted by the q phi m. The work function is therefore defined as the energy that must be supplied to an electron with an energy EFM, that is the metal Fermi level, in order for the electron to be ejected from the metal. So what do you mean by the work function? Work function is nothing but the energy, and but which energy? The energy which require or must be supplied to an electron with an energy EFM, that is a Fermi level of the metal. We know that metal consists of Fermi level, but what do you mean by the Fermi level? Fermi level is the energy level up to which all energy levels are filled, and above the Fermi level the energy levels are vacant. So the electron which is within an Fermi level of the metal, so the energy supplied to the electron which present in the Fermi level of the metal in order for the electron to be ejected from the metal. So this energy is called as the work function. Similarly, work function of the semiconductor is the energy required to extract an electron located at its Fermi level, that is EFC. Suppose we denote the Fermi level in a metal by EFM, and the Fermi level in a semiconductor is EFSC. These are the two Fermi levels in the metal and semiconductor respectively, and the work function is nothing but the energy which required to eject the electron from the metal or either semiconductor which is present at or at its Fermi level. So this is nothing but the work function for the metal and semiconductor respectively. Now this is the metal semiconductor energy band diagram. The left hand side denoted as a metal and the right hand side denoted as a semiconductor. That means the left hand side figure is the energy diagram for metal and right hand figure shows the energy diagram or energy band diagram for the semiconductor. We know that in a metal there are lots of electrons, that is a metal is a generally conductor, and lot of electrons or free electrons available in a metal, and metal also consists of the Fermi energy level and which is denoted by EFM in the figure, and above the Fermi level there is a vacuum. So as we define, the work function is nothing but the energy must be supplied to the electron which is present in the Fermi level of the metal to eject from that metal, or simply we can define it as the energy supplied to the electron and which is at its Fermi level in order to eject the electron from the metal. So this is the work function and which is denoted by Q phi m, which is shown in the figure. That is, a work function is a energy difference between the Fermi energy level in a metal to the vacuum level. Similarly, in the semiconductor, we know that in a semiconductor the conductivity of the semiconductor is lies in between insulator and metal. When we increase the temperature, then the conductivity of the semiconductor increases. We know that in a semiconductor there are two bands generally, that is a conduction band and valence band. As shown in the figure, the valence band which is lies to the or lies below the Fermi level of the semiconductor, and the conduction band which is lies above the Fermi level of the semiconductor, or simply we can say that in a semiconductor the energy level is lies near to the conduction band. Now also we have defined the work function for the semiconductor, that is, it is also is the difference between the Fermi level of the semiconductor, energy difference between the Fermi level of the semiconductor and the vacuum level. So which is shown in the figure, that is a Q phi SC, and one more parameter which is shown in the figure, that is a Q chi. So this is the electron affinity for the semiconductor. So we will discuss about the electron affinity. We know that in a semiconductor some electrons have an energy higher than EFC. We know that in a semiconductor there is a valence band and conduction band. Some of the electrons are present in the conduction band, so some electrons have an energy higher than EFC, that is the energy which is higher than the Fermi energy. This can be found in the conduction band and their energy is approximately equal to EC. That means the energy, the electron which lies in the conduction band, they should have the energy that is a EC, and this energy is greater than the Fermi energy in the semiconductor material. And generally the electron which have this energy this energy, that is EC, which lie or which present or they present in the conduction band. The energy needed to extract an electron from the conduction band into the vacuum is called the electron affinity, and which is denoted by Q chi. That means again electron affinity is nothing but the one of the type of the energy, that is the energy needed to extract an electron from the conduction band. In a semiconductor material, some of the electrons are present in the conduction band, and if we want to extract the electron from the conduction band, then the amount of energy required to remove that electron from the conduction band into the vacuum, and this amount of energy is known as the electron affinity. So the electron affinity is denoted by Q chi, and which is shown in the also figure, that is the energy difference between the conduction band and the vacuum level. That means the energy required to remove an electron from the conduction band into the vacuum, that in order to remove, the energy must be required in order to remove the electron from the conduction band to the vacuum level, and this energy is known as the electron affinity, that is the energy difference between the conduction band and the vacuum. So this is the metal semiconductor energy band diagram. Now this is the metal semiconductor energy band diagram when the metal semiconductor are not in contact with each other, but we have to see the when we brought metal and semiconductor in contact with each other, then what happened? That means how their energy level align, where the electron flows or where the current flows, or how the barrier height is formed, or how the barrier is formed between the or at the interface of the metal semiconductor. These all are the things which we have to discuss in our next video. So in our next video we will discuss about the how the barrier height is formed between the metal and semiconductor interface, and from where the electron flows either from metal to semiconductor or semiconductor to metal, and we get, due to the flow of electron, we get the current, and at thermodynamic equilibrium or at the equilibrium what happened, that means at a balancing condition what happened to the barrier height. All these things we have to study about the metal semiconductor contact, and all these things which we will discuss in our next video. So in our next video we will continue with the all those things.